So I did a podcast with a 18-year-old girl. Her name is Chloe Cole. She at 11 said that she believed she was a boy and in the wrong body. And it was the most powerful hour you will spend. If you have anyone in your life, any of your children, discussing this about them or themselves, you have to listen to this podcast. She's brutally honest and really very, very kind. And she has gone through absolute hell. Chloe Cole is on with me now. Hi, Chloe. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. I really enjoyed our visit a couple of weeks ago. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So, Chloe, can you in just a couple of minutes just tell your story from 11 to today? And just like, is there a way to condense that really quickly? Because I want to talk to you about some other things.
I mean, from a young age, I was a little bit on the tomboyish side. I'm also on the spectrum, and I've always kind of had a difficult time getting along with and fitting with other girls my age. And once I started hitting puberty and using social media, I found that it got more difficult, and I got more dissociated from, I guess you'd say, myself and other girls. And I started developing some body image issues, and I really didn't want to be a girl. And I started seeing a lot of like LGBTQ content online as it started to become more trendy. And with the trans thing, I was presented this way out of being a woman. And at 12, I started to experiment with my presentation a little bit. I started to cut my hair, buy more clothing from the boys' department, and I decided that I wanted to be a boy. And I came out to my older sister, and eventually some more of my family, and then my parents. And so my parents, they wanted to be supportive. They didn't know exactly what to do with me, though, and so they sought the help of who they thought were the real experts in this, and they brought me to a therapist. And
a therapist lied to your therapist lied to your parents and said that you would kill yourself if you didn't transition, which was not true. And so they supported your transition.
Yes. They presented transition as the only option to treat my gender dysphoria with. And there was no real exploration of where the feeling came from.
Right.
It was just, she's really a boy, and you need to let her transition, or she may not be here with you anymore.
So let me just finish up the story quickly. At 15, she had surgery, had her breast removed. Right after that, 16, 17, she began to realize, this is a horrible mistake. And she's trying to detransition now, which is extraordinarily expensive. Strangely, not a lot of people are helping her. I'll get into that later. But I wanted to talk to you because you are there. You're real. You're not a pundit. You're not any of these things. You went through it. And you just tweeted something. When I got into the fight against child mutilation, I didn't realize I was getting into a fight against pedophilia as well. What do you mean by that?
There is a lot of overlap in these activists who push transition on children, and these spaces that promote the transition of minors and pedophiles and sex offenders.
So, are you talking about things like the strip dances, from the trans strip shows and things like that?
That's definitely one of them, yeah.
And what are the other forms of it? And what makes you say this? with such confidence?
I mean, it's something that I experienced myself in online trans spaces. There's a lot of very sexual undertones in them, and I mean, there's a lot of overlap between ages. A lot of people from anywhere from the ages of like 12 to like their mid-20s, and since there's so many hormones going on, and a lot of people who are younger and not really as socially aware, there's a lot of vulnerability in these spaces. And I experienced a lot of this myself. I had like a lot of males who were older than me who were approaching me sexually, who either identified as bisexual or trans or non-binary. And it's a huge problem. I don't think that it's an LGBT specific problem, though really it's more of a societal problem, because these online spaces aren't really properly moderated, and a lot of these kids who identify as LGBT aren't really nearly as close as their parents, and they have unrestricted internet access, and their parents aren't really properly monitoring them or educating them on the dangers that are on the internet. And I think because it's a hot topic right now, it is attracting a lot of people, and especially vulnerable kids who are looking for an answer for themselves.
As you look at what the president said, I don't know if you saw, did you see what the president said yesterday? That we need,
I don't think so.
Yeah, we need to get rid of all of these laws that are being passed in states that stop doctors from transitioning children and providing transgender surgeries. That is hate speech, if you want this to stop, and it's as bad as racism or anti-Semitism.
No, not at all. It's protecting children's boundaries and safety is not hate speech, not one bit. Children are not able to consent to this. We should not be treating children as adults who are capable of making permanent decisions for themselves. I mean, that's exactly what happened to me. I was essentially sexualized by my doctor. I was 13 when I started going on the treatments on puberty blockers and testosterone, and she had to explain to me as an endocrinologist how it affects my sexual function and the increase in libido and how it would affect my reproductive organs and my fertility. And no 13-year-old is able to really fully grasp that. I was treated as if I were an adult.
For people who say that you're not giving people love that are in this if you don't accept them as children, if you don't accept it, how do you respond to that?
Affirming someone's delusions is not love.
But you would say yourself that you were delusional.
And I truly believe that. I was a boy, but I never will be. I was born female, and that's an immutable trait. I wasn't shown love. I was just pushed onto this path of permanent medicalization and potentially sterilization. And I mean, it's affected the overall picture of my health and my life, and I've just been struggling to pick up the pieces of my life since then.
Chloe, can you have children when you're older? Do you know yet?
I don't know yet. I mean, even if I'm able to conceive, I don't know if I'll be able to safely carry to term.
And you could have breast reconstruction, but you couldn't. You may not be able to make milk for your child if you could have a child.
No, I could choose to have a cosmetic breast reconstruction, but I'll never be able to breastfeed my children.
And what does that mean to you?
Words can't describe just how devastating that is. I was allowed to make that decision at a time when I didn't even understand just what that meant.
Chloe, how are things going with you? I know, your situation is very dicey, and I know that people in the LGBTQ community. I'm sure there are some nice people, just like there's nice people in everything, and bad people in other things. But you, at least online, have been just hammered to death. Are things getting better or about the same or worse?
I'd say personally things are getting a lot better. I mean, I did lose a lot of friends over the course of my detransition, but I'm starting to make new friends, including people who are from the LGBT community, both gay and trans. And I actually have a lot of transgender people who are older and a little bit more mature and really able to understand what's going on, and they're on my side. But as I've stopped transitioning and I've stopped taking testosterone, I've been a lot healthier and quite a bit happier too.
I'm glad. Chloe, you're great, and I can't wait to see the woman you turn into. Thank you so much for being on with us again. That's Chloe Cole. Now, let me tell you something about Chloe, and you'll just have to read between the lines. This is a very difficult path, and it's, well, you don't have to read through the lines. I mean, because I can't tell you anything more than that. It's just very difficult, and she has a goal of $10,000 that she is trying to raise the money to help with getting her back fully, but also she wants to be a voice for others. And, you know, we flew her in here, but that doesn't happen all the time. And she just wants to help people and young kids. She is extraordinarily relatable. She is on the spectrum. But I want you to watch this podcast with her that I did a couple of weeks ago, because she's extraordinary, and explains it in such a way that I think kids will understand, because she's still a kid. She's 18. And what she's gone through. She's already raised $8,600 of this. But if you want to help her out, would you go to donorbox.org/Chloe, CHLOE hyphen Cole, or dash Cole. So Chloe dash Cole, donorbox.org.
Why don't we tweet this out from your social media? So it's going to be hard, obviously, to find that directly. These addresses for the fundraisers are always impossible. So we'll get them out on your Twitter and Facebook or whatever we can. Also, should point out, if you want to hear her whole story so you can really get through all this, you did do this podcast. It's up now at youtube.com/Glenn Beck.
Still up.
Shockingly, yes, for the moment.
She is so powerful. And I have to tell you, I think as a parent, if your kids are in, high school or, 8th grade and above, they're having these discussions. They're talking about it. And you may not know how to talk about it. You may not understand. You may hear, I feel like I'm a boy, and roll your eyes. Don't. She explains what happened to her at 11 years old and all of the things that she was thinking of and experiencing online. You will come to this completely differently. So watch it.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from BlazeTV, with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.